5:33 here this morning. The U.S. has carried out a series of airstrikes against Iran. They say retaliating for Iran downing a U.S. Army helicopter. We first told you about that yesterday morning. Iran staying defiant with its own round of attacks overnight. Doug Lazater has been tracking all of this from Washington this morning. And Doug, we're hearing that the president still hoping to press ahead with a peace deal. Good morning.
Good morning. U.S. Central Command is calling these self-defense strikes, saying they're now over. But Iran has now escalated with some attacks on neighboring countries there. The U.S. military using some of its gathered firepower to strike Iran, some 20 targets. A retaliation for an Iranian drone taking out a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. U.S. Central Command called it a proportional response. And while the two crew members aboard the helicopter were safely recovered in a first-of-its-kind drone boat rescue, the provocation was clear.
Let's make no mistake here, they were trying to kill two of our pilots.
Some military analysts pressing for a stronger pushback.
My preference would be to return to military operations and recognize who we're really dealing with here.
And already Iran has responded with attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait.
The only sure way to protect our troops is to end this war as soon as possible.
A Democrat said the downing of the helicopter shows the president's strategy isn't working. And even among some Republicans, there is growing frustration.
I'm starting to feel like we're Charlie Brown and Iran is Lucy, and every time we go kick the ball, it's been taken away.
And while the president seemed to question the idea of a limited proportional response in a series of social media posts overnight, the Wall Street Journal reports he said the helicopter incident wasn't a big deal.
He very much is still in this kind of deal-making mode and wanting to say, look, this isn't going to be a moment that will disrupt this very carefully negotiated ceasefire.
Well, that ceasefire may be on pretty shaky ground, with Iran's foreign minister saying his country will leave no attack unanswered. Back to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Doug Lazater, with the very latest from Washington this morning. Thanks, Doug. 5:35 here this morning, and happening today, the city of Minneapolis expected to release an update on the impact from Operation Metro Surge. Several leaders say the federal enforcement cost the city nearly $70 million. Today, some of those leaders are holding a news conference to go over all of the impacts, which neighborhoods were most affected, and how the city is moving forward. That news conference is set to start at 8:45 this morning. Our Bill Keller will have more details here coming up in just over 20 minutes. And this comes as President Donald Trump is expected to sign nearly $70 billion today, a bill funding immigration enforcement for the next 3 years. The House narrowly passed that bill yesterday. All Democrats voted against it, but Republicans used their majority to get it over the finish line by just 2 votes.
There's not a Democrat here who voted to support that. But what we've done now by funding it for 3 years is we've taken away their ability to cut that funding, to block that funding, or to take hostage the funding for the remainder of the Trump administration.
We believe immigration enforcement should be fair, just, and humane.
So the White House says out of this $70 billion, $38 billion will go to immigrations and customs enforcement, ICE. $26 billion will go to Border Patrol, and $5 billion allocated for unforeseen costs. A group of lawmakers are asking the White House to release more files about potential alien encounters and UFOs. The White House released hundreds of files last month, none of which provided any real proof of extraterrestrial life. These lawmakers are also calling for more protections for whistleblowers involving UFO cases.
If any individuals have any information, do not be afraid to come to a member of Congress. We will protect you, and we will make sure that the truth is out there.
This isn't the government's information. Unless there's some kind of national security element that's going to imperil our safety, this is our information. We should have it, every single bit of it.
Lawmakers are also asking other countries to start seriously investigating UFOs. Meanwhile, NASA is introducing the crew for its upcoming Artemis 3 mission. The next step is plans to land astronauts back on the moon. Mission specialists Andre Douglas and Frank Rubio, pilot Luca Parmianto and Commander Randy Bresnik are set to launch in 2027. This announcement comes just 2 months after Artemis 2's record-breaking trip around the moon. Artemis missions keep getting increasingly more complex, but NASA says that they are prepared as they build a foundation for the first crewed missions to Mars.
This test flight will enable us to prove we can carry out highly choreographed operations with our partners across hardware, interfaces, software, propulsion systems, and life support elements.
Think about how many spacecraft will be in orbit at the same time, from Dragon, Shenzhou, Soyuz, possibly Starliner, Starship, and Blue Origin landers. This seems like the very beginning of Earth's first Starfleet to me.
NASA also has plans for an Artemis 4 mission, landing astronauts on the lunar South Pole. That's scheduled to launch in 2028.